Nintendo just had a direct, a mini direct specifically about Mario Kart World, and I watched it, and honestly, it kind of sucked. It just wasn't particularly entertaining, but this isn't just me being a hater. The entire internet is basically waking up early and saying, what the hell was that? What the hell was the point? But specifically, I feel like people are still spamming drop the price, drop the price. And I feel like this has become the klaxon call, the alarm bells for Nintendo themselves because, World specifically, this new Mario Kart, it is now the most expensive launch game of all time. Literally, there's never been an $80 game. There's been games where you could choose to pay for an $80 edition, whether it is like a digital deluxe edition or a special ultimate edition with like a season pass or microtransactions or whatever, but this specifically, the base version of the game being $80, a lot of people tuned into this direct to see what's so damn special about it, and it's not good. It's just kind of boring, in fact, and a lot of Nintendo fans, even people that basically are professional hype men for Nintendo, are starting to say, I think they suck now. I think they've kind of lost that clear messaging about what makes Nintendo games fun. But let me take a look at the direct. Let's take a look at the hate. It's already being downvote bombed. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So I do want to make it clear, I did watch it. I do think that even if you were paying attention, this was a particularly bad Nintendo Direct. I just feel like Mario Kart World doesn't look that different or better or crazy. Like when I see this looks to be 99% the exact same as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I've already put, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into. If you say, hey, here's the next thing. Oh yeah, it's not DLC. This is the most expensive game of all time. At no point when I'm seeing this am I excited about, oh great, open world driving. Oh, I can have a charge jump. This to me just does not look like an $80 game. I also feel like people are being extra critical specifically because this is the only launch game. And in my opinion, I don't think this can really be understated. Launch games matter. I mean, if you're trying to just basically say, here's the new system, here's the new graphics, here's the new controller and stuff like that, launch games are incredibly crucial. So I do feel like that's why Breath of the Wild was extremely successful. There's been a lot of very important launch games that have sell or sometimes even kill a system. This is just not a really exciting launch game, especially for the fact that this system is probably going to be $600. Oh yeah, a lot of people are pissed because they still don't have any sort of price. They still don't have anything about, hey, here's how many hundreds of dollars you're about to pay for it. Look at this though. It is already getting 33,000 likes to 6.1 thousand dislikes. Now, this has only been up for about an hour. To me, it is interesting to see actual Nintendo blowback. But even that, I'm so curious about people saying this. That's it. That was the whole Mario Kart World Direct. It's just a nothing burger besides telling us that you can charge jump and that free roam has collectibles. This should have been revealed already. I'm sorry, that was not worth a whole direct. Now, to me, I think this is interesting because, yeah, it just seems like a mild complaint. But the reason this is fascinating is because I think Nintendo is starting to kind of water down their brand. Nintendo Direct used to mean something, even if you didn't like a Nintendo Direct because it didn't have games you particularly enjoyed. There was a gravitas, there was a weight to it. I think the reason a lot of Nintendo fans get so incredibly hyped about Directs is because it's that cool display about here's what your Switch is going to be doing next. Here's the games that you are going to love, the ports, the craziness, the stuff that's basically playable on the go. This felt like, okay, here's Mario Kart. It's the same Mario Kart you've had, but now with a way, way bigger price tag. I want to take a look at some people that were actually hating on it, but I feel like in a critical fashion. Now, Sam's Procrastination Station, this guy is a very big Sonic YouTuber. I've talked to him a couple times. Extremely cool guy, and I feel like when he criticizes stuff, I feel like it always comes from a constructive place. He is not trying to tear stuff down, but he does bring up good points. Mario Kart World looks amazing, a lot of cool mechanics, graphics are beautiful, new moveset like jumping and grinding with fun. With that being said, there is nothing about this game justifying an $80 price tag. Nothing. And I feel like this is the most crucial point that Nintendo is going to perpetually be dealing with. drop the price. How could you actually expect to sell a game that is almost the exact same as everything else you've been doing for the last decade, but suddenly way more expensive? Look at this. I don't care if you decide to get the game. Nintendo deserves the bad PR, and people should not be silent about it, calling it for what it is: greed. With that said, I hope people support Sonic raiding Kart Worlds on release simply because it's not breaking bank. I'm not saying we need to boycott Mario, obviously. I won't be doing that either, but I think we should incentivize companies who keep their prices reasonable. Now, I didn't play it, but I did hear there was a recent beta testing that some people played. I did hear apparently the new Mario Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is apparently extremely good, and I think this game is $50, so it's like almost half the price. Very strange, but here's another thing that really caught my eye, which is that Game Explain, obviously one of the biggest Nintendo channels for a long time. Obviously they've been dethroned now, but he did a poll. This is Game Explain. They did a poll here. Did the Mario Kart Direct sell you on World? And if you weren't sold before, it sold me on it 30%. It did not sell me on it 70%, with almost 600 votes. This is bad. I don't care how you want to spin it, how you want to act like this isn't a big deal. This is bad when Nintendo fans that are waking up at 6 a.m. to watch a Nintendo Direct about a game are saying, it didn't wow me. These people are locked in. This is literally a Nintendo channel saying, are you interested in a Nintendo game? And they're saying, no thanks. I don't know what's going on with Nintendo's messaging recently, but they're kind of really bad at it. Andre Seeger saying this, I find this to be, honestly, this is probably the most worrying aspect of it, specifically to Nintendo, is that, like, every company now requires that viral, natural groundswell marketing. They need those people that are out there saying, hey, here's the love. Hey, here's me and my bros doing it. Hey, here's a clip of me doing a crazy trick shot. Hey, here's me playing Breath of the Wild and detonating 25 bombs to blow up a whole enemy camp. Here's me playing Tears of the Kingdom and making a robot with a big old fire spewing dick and stuff like that. That stuff not only sells systems, it not only sells games, it sells hype. It gets that virality. And I feel like Nintendo has gotten to a point where the only thing going viral about it is the bad vibes, is the fact that people are proudly not buying it. When people start to get more excited to watch the drama, to watch the backlash than they are to play the game itself, that is when you start to get a bit into a corporate death spiral. Now, here's the one I actually wanted to look at as well. Genki. Now, Genki lives in Japan. He does a lot of Japanese coverage, but he does talk about stuff sort of from a American point of view. And he has kind of been talking about the fact that the Nintendo Switch 2 is way cheaper in Japan because they're not dealing with tariffs and stuff like that. And so the freaking Switch 2, they're actually, for the first time, they're having to make a region-locked Switch. They're trying to make it where the Switch 2 is only playable in Japan. It only is in Japanese. You can't swap the language. They're specifically doing that so people don't import it for cheap as hell. But here's the thing, is that he says, Mario Kart World looks amazing, but nothing in that Direct tells me why it's worth a bump to $80. I don't know why they waited the extra 2 weeks to show it, as there wasn't anything new or amazing to show. Looks very fun, but I was expecting more after that long wait. Disappointment seems to be in the air. It seems like a lot of people are like, even if they're trying to be hyped, even if they're open-minded, even if they're conventionally Nintendo fans, or in this case, a Nintendo fan that is going to be able to get a cheaper Switch 2 and a cheaper copy of the game, even he is like, okay, why $80? I feel like the bad headlines, the negativity around the Switch 2 continues to stir up. Every single day, Nintendo says some new baffling thing. Like apparently the Switch 2 edition Zelda games don't work with cloud saves. Like every single day, Nintendo comes out and finds a new way to talk about why the Switch 2 is a downgrade. You can hate on the PS5. You can say the PS5 is not doing enough. The PS5 doesn't have enough games. The PS5 doesn't have enough exclusives. That Sony isn't doing enough first party. But objectively, if you played a bunch of PlayStation 4, going to PlayStation 5, you felt that generational difference. You felt the solid state. You did have some exclusives. You know, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I've enjoyed the PS5 Spider-Mans immensely. My point is the fact that with these generational leaps, It's hard not to say, hey, we do everything that the past did, but now better. But it's important to do that. And I do feel like when I think about the Switch 2, if I was not a YouTuber, if I didn't review games, if I didn't review systems, I think I might actually be done with Nintendo. That is how bad a lot of this stuff looks. And now it does seem like price drops are probably not coming back. In other generations, games would get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Consoles would get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But at this point, I do feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to see that $600 price tag on the Switch 2 or whatever it ends up costing and going, okay, this is the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's just going to get more pricey from here. Well, I guess I'm just done with Nintendo. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you guys feel about Mario Kart? How did you feel about this Direct? I mean, I feel like everybody hated it, but how do you feel? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Mario, I mean, I still feel like Nintendo, it is not too late. I do feel like you could say, because of tariff prices, the system prices going up, we apologize. This game is going to be $60. We're still going to be selling these for $60. You cannot tell me that this is what you guys actually looked at and went, yeah, that's our first $80 game. This is hubris of an absolutely biblical scale. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.